Hi farmers, I'm Gary and we're talking with Francois Wilken, Chairman of Free State Agriculture.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for taking the time to meet with us. So Francois, I want to ask you, what is the general state of agriculture currently in the Free State?
It's actually interesting times to be in. The last 2-3 seasons we have bumper crops, but still the farmers are battling. The profit margins are very low. The geopolitical influences in the world are also playing a big role on fuel prices, fertilizer prices, and the overall expenses on the farms. And the farmers are really under pressure.
Yes. So Francois, I think let's jump right into the foot and mouth conversation. At this point in time, a couple of changes have happened, and I'd like to know from you what still needs to change in the Free State.
Yes, if we go back, say, maybe a year or so, when first the foot and mouth got into the Free State, I think that the planning there was not up to standard. And since last year, the previous minister set up the MTT, and what the farmers experienced was profitability and quarantine for 1 year. And we handled foot and mouth like a country who is foot and mouth free.
Yes.
And we are no longer foot and mouth free.
Yes.
So we must change our lookout for the future. And then the big concern was vaccines. There was no vaccines in the country. We haven't got the capability to produce vaccines. So we should have imported long ago, and that's where Free State Agriculture got involved in the so-called litigation against the minister and the department.
Yes.
And I want to emphasize it that we didn't go to court. First, we asked the minister and the department in the current Animal Health Act, there's nothing that says that farmers cannot acquire legal vaccines and procure that itself to the animals.
Yes.
So that was the only question.
Yes.
And all we said was, if you don't answer us within, I think it was 2 weeks, we will ask the court to force you to answer that. And the minister...
So the question was really just about expediting the answer.
Yes,
Okay.
that was all.
Yes.
And so the minister had 3 options: come to the table, speak to us, answer us, and he chose to and he said in public, if you take me to court, I will delay the vaccines for another few months.
Yes.
Before we went to court, we were in mediation.
Yes.
For 3 days with the minister and the department's legal teams and our legal teams, and we discussed it through, and there was no consensus about that, so we went to court.
Yes.
And from the start, we only asked, why can't the farmers form a parallel structure alongside the state?
Yes.
To vaccinate our own animals, because the state haven't got the ability to vaccinate 14 million cattle.
Yes.
So, and we only wanted to assist, and
Yes.
that is where we entered the...
So at no point were you planning on eliminating the Department of Agriculture?
Never.
You were only planning on creating a parallel supply chain for vaccination.
That's from the
That's
start.
privately owned and managed.
Yes, and we emphasized that from the beginning, as well as we said from the beginning, we will be willing to support the state in vaccinating the communal cattle, because there's no sense in vaccinating half the herd. We must vaccinate all the cattle as soon as possible.
Yes.
And we also sent our vice chairman to Argentina for 10 days to go and see how they did it, and Brazil also, and what we should do, because we experienced that there was no actual knowledge, because the vaccination at that stage was with the little vaccines we had.
Yes.
We run to an outbreak and we vaccinate, and we run to the next outbreak and we vaccinate, and that is not, according to the World Organization of Animal Health,
Yes.
the way to go.
Yes. So currently the court case has been settled, and now the solution is available for the two parallel streams. The one is the government managed, and the other one is private sector managed vaccination solutions. What are the next steps? What needs to change today, tomorrow, for this successful rollout?
Before I go there, there's something that baffled me the whole 6 months, and that is that the industry opposed us from day one, and I don't know why, because
When you say us, you mean Free State Agriculture?
Free State Agriculture and our partners in this court case.
Yes.
And what I've said a lot of times, at the end of litigation, there must be energy. And they should have planned according to what happens if this private vaccine that can come in and the farmers can lay their hands on that.
Yeah.
But until about 2 weeks before the settlement with the new minister,
Yes.
people in the industry said, yeah, but the only people that's going to suffer from this court case is the farmers. And I don't know why, because we've done it for the farmers. But I think from now on forward,
Yes.
all in the industry must put the court case aside.
Yes.
There are a settlement. There are clear rules. Let's go forward and take hands and settle. And
Yes.
something I want to emphasize is that when you want to centralize everything,
Yes.
it's a big problem. We must decentralize, go to the farm, go to the farmer. He knows what to do. It's his cattle. The same act says to a farmer, you must protect your cattle. You must protect your herd.
Yes.
And now the state say you can't. And I think we must go forward, come around the table, as Minister Billy Oakham has done with the settlement. Get everybody around the table. Let's talk. Let's differ from each other.
Yes.
And let's come to a workable plan for
Yes.
the future.
Yes. Okay. So, if this had to happen for the Free State, currently you have about 1.25 that your office has confirmed vaccinated in the Free State, and that's first vaccination. That's not a booster vaccination shot. What are the challenges that you see just for the Free State that is going to potentially cause ripple effects?
Yeah, I don't want to say that the vaccination process until now was not valid or
Yes.
done everything. But
Yes.
if you look at what the Argentinians did and the Brazilians, the first thing we must do and start from the beginning, get 3 million doses of vaccines in the Free State, and within 6 weeks vaccinate all the cattle. If by chance we have records of cattle which were vaccinated in the past, say, month, we can pass them, and we vaccinate as much animals as possible, and after 6 to 8 weeks we vaccinate again.
Yes.
And then we have stopped the spread of the foot and mouth. And then we sit around the table again.
Yes.
And now we plan for the next 10 years.
Yes.
What we are going to do. And we make sure that we got for every vaccination period, like in Argentina, I think it's in October, they start and vaccinate all the animals again.
Yes.
From day out to old cattle.
Yes.
And what the signs are saying is after, say, 3 to 4 years, you may become to the point where you only vaccinate new animals, new calves, your heifers for the future.
Yes.
But there's one very important thing that they miss, and that is after vaccination, you must test. You must test. We need laboratories. We in the Free State already spoke to the university. We took hands with them. We want to get one of their laboratories in working condition again. And that is the most important. We must test to see after a while, are your cattle positive because of the vaccine or because of foot and mouth.
Yes.
And when you reach that stage that there are no new outbreaks, then you can start and plan for the World Organization for Animal Health and the control. And the state alone can't do that. They need the farmers to take hands and to. This is a fight for the industry, not only for the farmers or for export markets.
Yes.
I think we export about 5% of our meat. That's a lot. We want to expand that, but if we don't look after our cattle, maybe in a year or 2 years we have nothing to export.
So now, tell me, you mentioned that you've approached some of the universities to start doing testing for you. How's your support from the Department of Agriculture in the Free State to implement that kind of testing solution?
We've got every week there's a JOC meeting with the department, but at the moment it seems like the department and the veterinarians are so busy crisis control on
Yes.
foot and mouth that they can't go and sit down and let's plan
Yes.
the whole thing.
So it's just crisis management.
Yeah.
It's not strategic planning at this point in time.
At this time, there's no strategic planning, although they think that is strategic planning. But I think we must go and sit around the table and plan what are we, because we can't. There's other veterinarian services also, and at this moment, the private vets are so busy fighting foot and mouth that normal veterinarian services, there are no veterinarians available for that. So
Yes.
we must get, as soon as possible, get back to normal
Yes.
and see it as a normal disease and handle it as we also handles a lot of other, like brucellosis or
Yes.
all those illnesses.
Yeah. So, okay, let me then ask you, the Free State has got a high number of reported outbreaks. That has again also been confirmed by your officers, but also by the Free State Department of Agriculture. Why is the Free State?
We are situated in the middle of the whole South Africa. We're in the middle. All
Yes.
the roads from the Eastern Cape, from the Northern Cape, everywhere from Natal to the center, economic center of South Africa, which is Gauteng, around through the Free State.
Yes.
And then we have the Lesotho border, crossing of cattle
Yes.
over the border. So we must in the Free State get to a point where the law enforcement come to the table. The traffic department, the police, everybody, so that we can control the cattle going through the Free State.
Yeah.
Okay. The big challenge is the reporting of foot and mouth. A few months back, the farmers were less willing to report because of the quarantine. But I think in the Free State, the farmers are reporting. That's why our counts are higher than maybe the other provinces. And at the moment, I think what's happening, there's maybe from the department of the veterinarians, we are accusing each other of, you don't do that and you don't do that. Let's come together. Let's fix that. And I think the Section 9 that was published maybe will solve a lot of problems on movement of animals and slaughtering of animals. And that will bring us all together to plan that. Because reporting is essential. But I will go back to the vaccination. As soon as we can vaccinate as much as possible cattle in the Free State, then it will be much easier to plan all this nitty-gritty that we must do to get our status back. We will never get our status back in the next 10 to 20 years as a foot and mouth free country. But that's not, we don't need that. You can be foot and mouth free with vaccination, as Argentina. Brazil took the step to say, but we declare ourselves now foot and mouth free without vaccination. Argentina don't want to do this thing. They are fine with it.
Yes. It's too far away for us. Too far.
At this point. Yeah. We must not look too far in the future.
Yes. Fix the immediate problem.
Yes.
What you're saying here. Absolutely. So tell me, on foot and mouth, is there anything else that you think we need to know?
Yeah, I think there's a big drive towards full traceability. I think for the moment, we must do what the Animal Health Act asks from us, and that is to report on your own system. I want to example, say there's Uncle Jan. He's farming for 50 years with his 800 cattle, and he's got this system. And now we want to force him to go to full traceability, and there's some in the industry who want to exclude him now from everything. We can't do that. We must include everyone. And that is what I think that we must report. That's important. But there's ways to report and not go to full traceability at this stage.
Yes. Okay. So I think let's jump to the next topic. I'd like to talk to you about the profitability of crop production at this point in time. You mentioned earlier that there are a lot of pressure points on the input costs. Where is the free space agriculture currently finding in themselves and the pressure points that their members are experiencing?
Yeah, that's a difficult topic because it seems like nobody has any control over the input costs.
Yes.
If you can take the farmer, the production, the start of the agricultural value chain, there are two main role players in the value chain. It's the farmer and the consumer. And at this stage, no one of those two have any say in what they pay or what they get. And if you go to the pipe that's coming in, the input side, they are most of our fertilizer are imported, our fuels are imported, everything is imported, and
over that they have no control. Where do you think they're missing the opportunity?
No, I don't think they're missing the opportunity. Well, every scientist or everyone says to yeah, but you must farm more scientifically, and you must reduce your fertilizer and everything. Yes. And I think the farmers that are the farmers now, yes, they are the best farmers in the world. We can't debate that.
Yes.
But they tell a story. The guy taught his dog to eat less food and less food and less food, and when he eat nothing, he died. And that's the same with the farm. You can save to this point. We must remember that the production side is fine. Contribution to GDP is 2.5%. The whole value chain is 16%. So the money is not in the farming business. It's outside the farming business still. So and we must look at that. We've got no control. If the Strait of Hormuz closes, I don't know why fuel prices the next morning, fuel prices at the pump is going up.
Yeah. Why? Yeah.
And someone asked me, you want to fight this, what will you...
Where do you start?
Where do you start?
Yeah.
If I only can start where these people can see, the farmers know what's happening.
Yeah.
Because without the farmer, there's not a chain.
Yeah.
And without the consumer, there's no value. So about 18 months back, I wrote an open letter. Maybe you've seen that, the survival of the farmer.
Yeah.
And I said there that the farmers are struggling on their own because they are proud people. So they suffer by themselves. And I want to be someone who listen to the farmer and hear what they are fighting. At the moment, if I speak to the farmers, we don't know where to go because we are doing everything. And the guys that have to look at this on the inside, on the outside, and even we had organized agriculture in the middle. They should have be there to see that from the inside and the outside that the farmers are not being bullied. And that changed. That have changed over.
Why did that change?
At one stage, organized agriculture wanted to centralize everything after the I fought against that. Our farmers lack the organization in their districts. They don't participate in discussions about their problems, and now they send maybe the willing guy, not the right guy, here to go and speak for them. And that's what happened. And we must change that as soon as possible. But the new technology, social media, make it very, very difficult because you can get information.
That's a place.
Yeah, and there's a lot of misinformation.
Yes.
So we don't debate our challenges and get to solutions. So the farmers on that side, but also in the industry and organized agriculture. I'm very worried because it seems that they are food farming, and if someone wants to talk to me about that, I'm open for that discussion, that we can sit around the table and in the Free State per se, we are listening to our farmers.
Yes.
We do nothing without our farmers behind us, things. And that is why we fought this court case, for the farmers backing us, and we will keep on doing that.
Yes. I don't before.
Yes, and I want to invite the farmers. Is, social media and that can't solve your problems.
Yes.
And we are focusing on data and all that. It's fine, but in the end, you must take out your hands and you must work and you can't take that away.
It's get the job done.
Get the job done.
So then if we tell you, while we were talking about input challenges, how's infrastructure in the Free State? So roads and market.
The Free State, I think, is the province with the weakest infrastructure on roads in the country.
First.
So we trying our best to speak to the department and everybody.
Yeah.
But there's no accountability on that side.
Yes.
That's another big challenge for farmers. So they are fixing their own roads at their own cost.
Yes.
And it seems like it's for the department. Let them fix the roads.
Yeah.
Take the work away from us.
Well.
And I don't know what we are going to do with the infrastructure in the Free State. But we are trying. At the moment, the farmers are mad at us. We do nothing. We try our best.
Yeah.
But there must be, and I hope that the new minister can assist us in that.
And do you think that the local Department of Agriculture has the potential to assist?
Yes. I must say that our MEC, Elsie Rockman, she tried the best. She set up a meeting with the Department of Roads and Police, and we made a proposal and said, can't you take some of your budget and allocate it to the farmers, and we will fix the roads? I think we will do a better job, because at the moment there's about 40 graders and there's 6 or 7 that is working at the moment, and we asked them, can't we privatize that assist us with the money, because a private contractor, if his grader break down today, tomorrow it will run again because he lose money.
Yeah.
In the department, that grader driver, which there are none. There are no grader drivers. There are no training of grader drivers at the moment.
Yes.
Some places the farmers take retired drivers, and they pay them out of their pockets to blade the roads. And there's evidence that some of those grader drivers, they break down the grader because he sits at home for 2 years and get the SAMAC.
Yeah.
So we've tried that. Initially, they said it can work, but it stopped just there. Of course.
Who needs to take the next step? Who needs to do what? And that's a difficult question, I realize that.
Kijk there. See, the guys nearest to the problem is the farmers. They take the shots because they can't get this fertilizer of the farms or the maize of the farms to the markets.
And of course, those roads and those infrastructures have impact on their input costs as well.
Yes, for sure. For sure. So what we would like to see is some tax relief for the farmer doing those. They said, yeah, you can claim your diesel and all that, but it's a direct cost. It's not a subtractable cost from your tax. It must be a direct cost. And I know there are some of the agribusinesses with schemes where they take R5 from a ton from your maize, and they put in R5, and they assist the farmers. That's all fine, and we appreciate that. That helps. Yeah, but the R5 they give, where did they get that? They get it from the farmer. In the end, every sin comes out of a farmer's pocket. Some direct, some indirect. So I have hope. If we can get the government system change, say, in the next elections, and it will be so easy if everybody in the state, in the private sector, just do what you have to do first, and we will get through it. But I think the cultures of not producing is already said to be caused.
So then let me ask you, let's jump on to the next topic. How is Stockcape and rural safety in the Free State? How big of a concern is that?
Seriously. It's always a big concern. We are monitoring it. Dr. Jane Bays is our crime analyst. She's doing a great job. So we work with the police as hard as we can. We also have Isabel Creer. She trains the law enforcement in the Free State and national on this stock theft. Yes.
And tell me about that.
Yeah, when stock theft cases come to court, the initial investigation on that was very bad, and also the prosecutors were not up to prosecute stock theft. So she's training the investigators what to look at, and also the prosecutors what they need. That's what she's doing. Our biggest problem is, in many cases, there are policemen into car, and that makes it very, very difficult. But it's a big challenge in the Free State. Our stock theft units are understaffed, and we are working on that as hard as we can. We also give training through one of our safety representatives to farmers. Safety training, 15, 20 guys on rural safety. And interesting, there are a lot of police work going to those courses that we where we train the farm.
Right. Okay. So then I think on a last question, is there anything that Free State Agriculture is hoping to achieve in the next 6 months, a year, that is going to make a notable difference on agriculture for the Free State itself?
Yes. I think what I've learned in the last 6 months with the court case is that we are 32 years down democracy, and there's no need to sit back and be bullying. We can stand up for every farmer, and it's not only commercial farming. If we think we've got problems, the communal farmers in the townships, I'm speaking to those guys, in bad. Every farmer and every citizen of this country, law-abiding citizen, we must do everything in our powers to get out the criminals.
Yes.
And as Free State Agriculture, what we need is the support of our members and those who are not our members. Because when I'm willing to fight, and I'm not speaking about fight and be
Not to be aggressive.
but to fight for the rights of every farmer in this Free State.
Yes.
And
Whether you're a member or not.
yeah, whether you're a member or not, I came to the point where if you don't want to be the member, it's fine with me. We have got money that we saved over years. We will use that, and if it's finished, we close the doors and we go out.
Yes.
And
And hopefully that does happen.
yeah,
Yes.
so you see I've got the information on the internet. Why must I be a member of Free State Agriculture? Do you read the Gazette every day? We do that for you to see the energy that is coming to you. Land claims, labor, the roads. We are doing that every single day. And we need the support. If I can stand up and say I've got the support of 70 to 80% of the Free State, then we have hope. And we work together. So we can make an impact. Because I always ask the question, it's not what we do. What should have happened if we have done nothing? If there was no one being there, be a wall against the onslaught on the farm. Because there is an onslaught on the farm. We can't go around that. That's a reality. So we must stand together, everyone. And the Free State Department of Agriculture, we've got a very good relationship with them, and we must build on that and get around ideology and all that. We focus on the job to be done.
Yes. Fletcher, is there any last message that you want to share with the audience?
Yes. We must remember farming and farmers are a special breed of peace, as we must protect them with all we have.
Thank you, Quantra. That means a lot. Farmers, until next time, goodbye.